Well, good morning. Happy Saturday, everybody. I hope you're all having a fantastic day. We're going to dive into some art this morning. I'm going to try to only get about, maybe at best, a 2-hour stream in today. I got some friends in town, and we're going to go do some stuff with them. But I was like, I haven't streamed in almost 3 weeks now, so I got to do something. So we're going to be working on, let me jump over to this real quick. Boop. We're going to be trying to finish this one up today. We're going to try to get as much coloring done as we can today. And hopefully we'll be able to knock this one out and we'll be able to move on to the next project in our next stream. But I hope you're all having a fantastic morning. I hope you have some coffee. I have not had any coffee yet. I woke up about 45 minutes ago, got up, got dressed, got everything set up, and I was like, okay, let's get this done. But we're going to dive into this. I hope my audio does not sound bad right now. If it does, I will adjust it in a moment. My monitor is still catching up. And yeah, so we're going to dive straight into this. So grab your pen and your paper, your tablet, and or just grab your coffee. Sit back and enjoy as we color this and hopefully finish this. And that's my alarm going off in my ear. Alrighty. So I've been mulling this one over, trying to figure out what kind of color scheme I actually want to do for this. I haven't figured it out yet. Give me 1 second. Let me check my audio, make sure it sounds right. Okay, now we're back. Okay. Anyway, I don't know why that was up with it. So I don't know what all of that actually got picked up. So let's just go ahead and start back at the beginning. Good morning and happy Saturday, everybody. I hope you're all having a fantastic day. We're going to dive into some art today. It's really early in the morning. I haven't had any coffee yet, but we're going to dive straight into this. I've been mulling over what kind of color scheme I want to do for this. And I haven't really, I think I finally got a general idea of what I want to do. Because every color scheme that I came up with, I didn't like the way everything blended together. So I kind of came up with like a little bit of a generalized color scheming for it, and I think we're gonna try to make a nice sunset scene so we can kind of blend everything together. Because I feel like if I just made a bright blue sky in the background, everything would just kind of look really imbalanced. But I think we're good. Audio sounds better than before. It's not chopping out on me, so we're gonna dive right into this. I'm going to drop the opacity down of my line art a little bit more, because I still kind of want to see the general colors and shadings. And I still haven't done any line art for the castle in the background. We're going to be doing that more in a painted, like, cutaway sculpting method than normal. Like, we're not going to do any kind of line art for it. Okay. Alright, so that's what we're going to roll with. So let's just do this. Let's make this our skin tones. If I can spell right. There we go. So we're just going to be doing a mass fill of all these colors. At first, we're going to be getting our layers down, our flat layers down, and then we're going to be going in, and that's when we're going to add in all of our shading and our coloring. Or color variations. We're doing the coloring right now. But how was everybody's Friday? I hope you had a great Friday. And do you have any plans for this weekend? I've got a buddy in town this weekend, and we met up last night for some dinner. We went to Texas Roadhouse. I got a very big steak. I don't know why you keep doing that. Maybe because I don't have my additional light up over there. Is it because I'm leaning forward and it's adjusting the brightness? I think that's what's going on. I'll try to keep my head back. How about that? But yeah, so we went to Texas Roadhouse last night, and I had a very nice, very delicious steak. Big old sweet potato and a side of green beans. That is my go-to for every restaurant that I can. Sounds like my music is just a little bit loud. That's gonna annoy me this whole time, so I may have to do a quick rebalancing of my lights. But let me turn that down a little bit more. Let me do that real quick. Let me jump behind my green screen. Let me plug up a power strip and try to get this fixed up. So I'm gonna jump to my break screen just real quick, and I'll be right back. Well, now you're just doing it real bright. Let me turn this one off. You can see that green halo around my head. That's what's happening? I think that what was going on because this light was on? What about leaning forward now? It's not happening. I think that's what was happening. Okay, we're gonna roll just with that. Hope for the best. Let me get everything readjusted again. All right. Okay. So anyway, continuing back on without dropping my pen. Yes, my buddy's in town this weekend, and last night we met up for dinner, and today we're gonna just kind of go around town and have some fun. Not entirely sure how things are gonna be going at first. I know we're gonna be meeting up for some coffee, which is gonna be great for me because I haven't had any coffee yet. But we'll be meeting up at one of our little favorite local coffee shops, and then chilling out there for a little bit and figuring out what we want to do for the rest of the day. I think they talked about doing disc golf or something like that. We do plan on going bowling this evening though, and that's going to be fun. I haven't been bowling in a really long time. But it's going to be super fun. It's going to be a great weekend. But that's one of the reasons why I wanted to try to get an art stream knocked out as early as I could, just because I didn't want to fall out of habit of it. Like, I'm not trying to get things into like a pre-programmed series or anything. Like, I'm still doing this for fun, doing all this all on my own time whenever I want to, not to get burned out or anything like that. But I was like, it's been 3 weeks. I don't want to let it go 3 weeks. Whoop. I almost started this stream at like 5 in the morning, but I was like, no, I'm just gonna lay down here in bed and get some nice rest in. My dog also did not want to get up, so that's kind of what did the defining choice. Gonna make this character a little bit more pale. Let's go ahead and I want to keep these separate, so let's do Mage, Knight, and I don't know what we're going to call the one in the back. We'll just say Rogue. So Mage, Knight, give me my thing, and then Rogue. Okay, so let me ditch these colors, boom, and ditch these colors, boom. Alright, let's take our darker skin tone. I am on the night layer, okay. It's a little bit darker than I was intending. So you know what, let me just do a quick adjustment. I want them to look a little bit more sunburnt. You know, nights they're out and about, they're going on adventures, they spend a lot of time outside. It's a little bit more what I'm looking for. There we go. And let me set this so that way I don't forget. Yeah, whenever I was trying to come up with the color scheme for this, I went through all manner of different colors. I went through different skin tones, different hair colors. I went like wild fantasy colors, and then I was like, yeah, I'm gonna stick a little bit more realistic. I'm not gonna go way out of my way. The thing that was kicking me the most was the color of armor and the hair colors. That's what was giving me the most trouble trying to figure out what kind of colors I wanted to do. Whoop, I need to go to my next layer. I probably could, you know what, there's a good chance I'm going to keep all this on the same layer, because if I end up getting into the more dense colors and shading, I'll probably need as many layers as I can get. We're gonna try to like keep things pretty simple, pretty smooth and straightforward, but I mean, you never know. There was one art project I did, I'm not joking in the slightest, I maxed out the layers on Clip Studio Paint. I was doing some graphics for a streamer, and I did everything in one project. So I had like one design on one layer, the next design on another, like different groups, but each one of those groups had their own like batch of layers inside of it. Long story short, I got to 628 layers is what that project had in it. So I was like, yeah, this is a big one, but oh well, it's the only one I'm doing. Okay, yeah, let's go ahead and just join these into one skin tone layer, and we'll just take off Mage and just leave it at skin tones. Okay, so let me pull back up my color reference, and I'm gonna need a little bit darker version of this, and there we go. Okay. So let's all right. We're gonna dive into a section and just move on from there. I feel like once I can get the flats down for the Mage, I feel like the colors are gonna start to come a little bit more naturally of what I was trying to accomplish in my mind. So it was that one, and then the shawl was also that color. So yeah, I mentioned in my last stream, but I do all of my sketching on my iPad mini, and I do all my full color illustrations and all of my rendering on my full-size iPad, my iPad Pro. Which I could do everything on there. I could do everything on one device, but I was having a hard time separating out doing sketches and doing full illustrations, and it started to get to the point where I was only doing full illustrations and I wasn't doing any sketching and I wasn't doing any kind of practicing whatsoever. So I started carrying around just a normal like pen and paper sketch pad, and that really helped out. So if you ever need kind of a mental reset, try jumping around to different mediums and seeing if that benefits you any. But I needed to do a grand separation in my mind. I just now realized my lines are off a bit. Let's see if I can do a quick correction of that. That's what I need, and then that there. Can I just push these colors with Liquify? But yeah, so I do everything on my iPad mini sketch wise, and I do everything full illustration on my iPad Pro. My monitor's starting to mess with me. I can't think straight whenever I'm hearing myself. But let me make a new layer for this, just that way I don't do a lot bigger screw up than I intend. But yeah, so I like smaller things, like trying to figure out colors. I'll do a quick like digital watercolor render on my iPad mini, but I won't do a full illustration on there. So that's what I did over on this one, is I kind of got my base colors roughly mapped out. This. All right, and that kind of fits more with the contour of what I was going for. So join that, and we'll drop these down, And I think this actually needs to be more of a gray rather than this navy. But we're right here, so I'm going to finish this one out in the navy color. Headphones falling out. And then I'll do a color adjustment and get it more of the color I was originally going for. Alright, there we go. Okay, so let's bring it up a bit and desaturate it. And that's a little bit more like it. That's too gray. I want to have a little bit of a blue hue into it, or blue tone. I guess no, it's still hue. Yeah. All right. So let's see. Move on to the next one. Love it if my alarms would stop playing in my ear. I am so sorry that y'all heard that just now. I just realized how loud that was. It's supposed to be nice and calming, and then you got alarms blaring off in every which direction. Blood over a little bit. Fill that in. My original plan was to do some like Red Army style, black and red, and like some really deep navy colors, and maybe throw some purple in. But when I started doing the overall color for everything, it didn't balance out. I was like, there's no way I can make this work right now. No way, like in my mind, I could make it work. So I was like, you know what? Let me do a little bit lighter colors. Maybe they're not so much like a bad group of adventurers. Maybe they're a nice group of adventurers. This over here. Clean that up just a little bit more. All right. So one thing I got into last week was I got into oil paintings. So I've been doing digital art for so long that hang on, that makes it sound bad. No, I've been doing digital art for a really long time, and a lot of the times, anytime that I was thinking, you know, let me do some traditional art, I really just picked up a pencil and some paper and did some like little quick doodles. But I've never gotten into actual painting on canvas. Like, I've done paintings, I've done watercolor, but I never did like an oil painting. So last week I was like, you know what? Screw it. I went down to the hobby shop and I bought all the supplies that I needed because I didn't have anything for it. And I did like most aspiring artists I followed a YouTube video. So I followed an old Bob Ross video. I think it was his season 1, episode 2, where he's painting Mountain McKinley. And I'm actually quite pleased with how it came out. I'll get to a stopping point on here and I'll pull it up for y'all because I have it right here, right next to me. But yeah, I was kind of thinking like, man, you know what? It might be fun to do some more traditional style art streams in the future. So if y'all would like to see me do some more traditional artwork, y'all let me know. Because that was a whole bunch of fun and it really didn't take a whole lot of time to do. Let's see, so I need to do the hat in this color too. Let me finish this hat up and then I'll pull the canvas off to the from the side and y'all can see. Yeah, I was quite amazed with how easily I was able to just get in a creative flow and zone with it. And I don't know if it's because it was like it's brand new, it was fresh, or what. But I actually really enjoyed doing an oil painting, and I'm most certainly going to do some more. So let me put this off to the side and let me switch over to my just webcam, and I'll show y'all real quick. Pull it off my easel real quick. So there are still some things that I want to fix on this. But I think for a first oil painting, that's not bad, and that the green screen is really going to start screwing with that. Come on, let's find that nice angle. There we go. That's probably going to be the best it's going to get because my green screen is starting to take over. But yeah, working with oil paint, that was so much fun. So yeah, I think it'd be really fun to do an art stream with oil painting. I think that'd be really cool to do. While I love digital art, I feel like traditional art is not getting enough attention right now. And I know that's me doing a digital painting today is not helping with that. But anyway, we're not going to get into the technical side of it. All right, let's see. So I need this brown texture, this brown color now. And we'll do the trim. Originally, I was gonna do this more of a orange color, but in the final image, it's all gonna kind of come out more of a brownish color. I need to do the belt too. Oh, I forgot to do color in the back half of the sash, or shawl, not sash. Okay, so let me catch that trim line right there. Make sure that stays on. Catch this color, go back to that layer, and fill it in. All right, and let's jump back to this. Color pick this and continue on. That's my other alarm going off. trying to decide if I want to do silver or if I want to do like little gold, like tassel holders, whatever you want to call them, tassel clamps. The nice little accessory on tassels. I just realized I need to make that little sleeve right here protruding out from the rest of it. I need to make it the same dark color as the underrobe. At some point, I will run out of alarms, I promise. At some point, they will stop. There's a period of time where I could not get up at all. Like, it wasn't just like, oh, I just don't want to get up. Like, I was absolutely trying to get up because at that point in time, I had started a new job. Or it was actually my previous job. But, I could not get myself up at a certain point in time, and I had to be 2 towns over at 6:40 because the store opened up at 7, and I always had the opening shift, so I had to have so many different alarms set up. I think at one point I had like 15 or 16 alarms. And it was not until the last 3 that I actually woke up to them. Now I'm a lot better. There's a lot less stress involved, and I can go to sleep at a decent hour, and I can wake up at a decent hour. But yeah, there was a period of time where I could not get up no matter what I did, so I had to have that many alarms to try to wake me up. And it's just kind of turned into like, well, I keep forgetting to turn them off. Okay. Let's do a little bit of a let's do like a gold color on these. Not gonna be like super noticeable, but it'll be something. Okay, and let's see, I've got her mapped out with some aqua colored eyes. Am I on the... No, I am on the wrong layer. Boop. I also need to come back in and add the whites of the eyes. Okay. Alright, so let's quickly do that. Would love it if that... Oh, that's not my alarm, that's just a notification. Alright, so let's add the whites. And I'm gonna go a little bit over, and then I will remove as needed. Okay. A little bit more here, and I'm gonna take that away. And I think we're just gonna stick with that. Maybe I can do a little bit more down and then up because of the angle that we're at. Okay, we're just gonna stick with that for now. let me join these into their own group, and let me name this eyes. And I will join these into a group, and we'll name it robe. And then we will need a thing for the hair. So for this one, I was gonna do like I want to do white hair, but actually let me do a darker color real quick, just so that way I can see everything. I want to do like a white hair on this character and kind of make it look a little bit more silvery, but with the kind of concept of doing everything as a sunset scene, it's going to come out more of a lavender color. So I'm going to go ahead and just color it that like very, very pale, faded out lavender. But for right now, just that way I can see everything that I'm doing and make sure I'm filling in all the gaps, I want to do a darker color, and then I will change it to that lighter color that I want. Whoop, see? Just like that, I didn't fill in everything. Alright. And I need to put this underneath. Otherwise, I just gotta go and erase that layer. And I'm not. Make my brush a little bit bigger and try to fill in some more of this a little bit quicker. Surprisingly, I actually don't mind this gray color in the hair. We'll play around with some color levels and see what we actually come up with, see if we like it or not. Okay. So overall, I think it blends nicely, but let me see. I'm gonna go ahead and make this into, I'm gonna duplicate this layer. Let's jump over here and let's see if we can't get, I'm gonna turn up the saturation a little bit more, and I want to try to keep that purple hue. It's a little too bright. How's that look? How does that compare to the color that I originally picked out? Can I just color drop on there? I can. So that's a little bit more of a blue hue, which that was kind of a little bit more of what I was originally going with. Let's see. Let me see if I can make this just a little bit. Okay, we're gonna stick with that for now. I'm gonna make this into its own group and call that hair. and then group this and then make it into a layer called Mage. But I need to not forget to color the staff in. So I'm gonna make a new layer right here, and I think I planned this one out to be white. Yeah, so it's gonna be white for the most part. So same premise. Let me go ahead and set that color there. We'll make it a darker color, and then we will change it to a lighter color, just that way we can see everything that we're doing. But who knows, I may end up liking this deep blue color. I still think I want to make this area like a nice gem inlay, and maybe make it a, I don't know, maybe make it like a sapphire or an emerald color. Okay, and let's adjust that, and we just need to make that much brighter. Turn the saturation down a little bit brighter, and we'll roll with that. And let's do a very rich, kind of rich color in here. Whoop. We'll come back in and we'll add in some highlights on that. Make it actually look like it's a gem sitting in there. And let me play around with the concept real quick. Let me get a little bit more of a goldy bronze color. Maybe more of a brass color. How would it look if to add, I just realized my line art's bleeding over right there. I'll have to go back and clean that up. How would it look if I added a little bit of a trim to things? And then, how would it look if I made this in here? I don't know if I'm gonna like this. I'm kind of not liking it now. I feel like that's adding too much detail down here. That's not what I'm trying to go for. Yeah, I'm not digging that. So we're gonna leave that, but I think I'm gonna leave that trim. I think I'm gonna leave the trim as is. Why is my lighting so blown out? Is it because it's like detecting the top of my head? I don't know. Okay, so let me correct my line art real quick. Let me clean this up. Whoop. And erase that. All right, and so that will round us off for the Mage. So let's leave that. Let me make this into its own folder and call it Staff, so that way I don't forget, because I will. All right, and now for the Knight. So for the Knight, I want to do a little bit darker brown trousers. And belt line and all of that, all the nice accents that will bring out the rest of the color of the suit. Okay, so that's the trousers, and I think I'll do a darker brown for the leather pieces, and for I'll do a more desaturated and darker color for the boots and the rest of the leather pieces. I need to put that on another layer. Let me put that on another layer. Nope. Okay. So now, no. I told you to zoom out. Let's jump up to the belt. And we're just going to go ahead and make this the same color. Make it look like it's leather straps that are coming off the leather belt. It'll also be one less color we'll have to worry about. We can just deal with doing kind of more of a generalized shading for it. Same thing with all the straps for all the shoulder pieces. Do this little piece down in here. Okay. And then we'll do the leather arm wraps as well. No. Come over here. There we go. Line art, or the line tool is just a little too fat right now. Just want to go everywhere. Okay. And then let's also throw some leather on here. Okay. And let's see. I'm going to jump ahead of the game a little bit and come down here and do the same colors for this third character down here. Just kind of get this out of the way now, rather than having to jump around. I am going to save this color though, but just that way I don't have to worry about it later, and I can move on to the next colors, rather than trying to find this color all over again and remember what I did it. And same thing on this belt, we're gonna make that the same color. kind of gap there, so we're just going to fill that in and say it's a fold in the belt. And I got to do a little bit more right down here. Okay. Alrighty. So let me go ahead and just quickly group this. I'll delete that one. And let me name this Rogue. And I'll group this one and I'll name it Night. Okay, and then we use new layer. And we'll do how to have that. So it's white armor and white trim, and you have this navy undersuit. These almost kind of look like the colors for the oh man, what was the kingdom in RuneScape? One of the kingdoms in RuneScape. It's on the other side of Varrock. I can't remember. Falador? Oh, I really hope I'm not botching the name. But anyway, if I'm remembering right, the colors that the knights wore looked like this. It was like white and brown and that navy color. Okay, and then we'll also do this down here. Yeah, when I was trying to figure out the coloring scheme for this armor, I went through so many different ideas. Like I thought about doing it, making it look like it was more gilded, having some different ornate designs on it, and everything I was coming up with, I was like, if I would have spent more time on the actual design of it, maybe I could have done something a little bit more detailed and like fine. And it was like, no, we're just gonna keep things simple. Maybe in another one we'll do some more ornate armor, but this one we're just gonna make it real simple. We're gonna keep things simple. We're not gonna get super into deep into details. We're just gonna keep things simple, keep it moving forward. That's what we're trying to do. That's what we're gonna do. All right, so I want to do a little bit of blue accents up here on the helmet piece. See, how would this look if I did this line up here, or these lines, not just one, but all of them. We'll keep it for now, and if I decide to change it later, I will. But I would like to make the faceplate that same blue color. we'll go ahead and paint the inside of it blue as well. And we'll add a little bit of blue decoration right there. So let's see, I didn't have an idea for the trim on the armor. Maybe it was just the center spine. I think that's probably just the best that we're gonna be able to get from it. I could go back in, see, like I was originally thinking like maybe if I do some ornate designs around everything, I could do something like that. I was like, no, I'm not gonna do that for this one. But I think that's good for that. Let's jump over to this layer. And I do want to make a darker scabbard. Alrighty. And then I need to do the hair, and I think I want to do a little bit more of a, like, I definitely want to do it darker than the mage's hair. But I think I got enough blues going on. How would this look if I did a, this layer empty? Yes, that layer is empty. Let me do a little bit darker. Kind of wanted to, like, I was originally thinking having like a very, very faint purple hue to it, but I think once everything starts coming in for the sunset, then it'll add in that color. I was originally trying to think like, man, what if I did like some off the wall anime hair colors for all this? I was like, well, let me see how it looks with green hair. No. How does it look with blue hair? No. Like I went through the whole spectrum of colors and I was like, no, I don't like any of this. We're gonna keep things semi-realistic, and then maybe for the next one we'll do some off the wall. We'll intentionally make it look very anime themed and very off the wall. Okay, so that will round up that character. I do need to go in and I need to add in a layer for the silver armor pieces, because I probably will make them more of a silver color. They'll probably be more of like a really polished white silver, but still need to add that in, otherwise they're not going to be able to show through. I also just realized I forgot the eyelash color. Sorry, I could not think. The eyelash color for our mage character. So let me jump over here and I'll add that in. I think I need to clean up that line. Give me a little bit more detail in the eye. So that's the face. Erase that. And this one little dot over here is driving me nuts. So where you at? There you are. Okay. Alright. Close that up. Come back to this one. And just fill that in. I just realized that I forgot another piece. What part are you on? You're here, aren't you? Yes, you are. All right. Let's get with that. And back to our knight. Is that the right layer? Yes, that is. And And same thing as before, I'm going to do a darker color so that way I can see everything that I'm coloring. Oh, I need to come back and color the collar as well. I forgot to do that. Man, I am forgetting so much today. Fix that, fix that. And then add this down here at the end of the scabbard. And I also want to do the trim of the clothing as well, because that will get changed to that lighter color. Okay, and I need to jump up here to the helmet and do the same. Okay, that'll work. Let me jump back to the undersuit. collar real quick. Let me jump up to this armor layer and clean that up. And as far as the hair tie color, I'm not sure. I think we may just do it the same color at, you know what, let's do a brown. Let's do a leather color. There we go. Alright, so that finishes off our next character. And let's jump down to the rogue. Let me pull up my rough sketch. Brown, tan, and black. Okay. We get a tan color. Kind of a coyote brown color. I don't know why you want to jump around to different sections of the drawing. Okay. So I'm going to do let's see. Darker color, let's do, how does that look? It's a little too close to the leather color. Can make it a little bit darker that way. Kind of the same thing. Do a very, very pale color. Make it look like it's a linen shirt. Let's be a little bit more unsaturated. Let me do some darker trousers. And then I can pull a lighter tan color. And that may end up looking, yeah, that blends a little bit better. I like that more. Although, let me do this. Let me save this color. And I'm going to make this a darker color so that way I can see what I'm doing, because I feel like I'm flying blind right now. Yeah, see? I missed a lot of spaces. So go in and we'll fill that up, and then we will change the color once we're done. Okay, and actually, you know what? I'm not mad with those colors. I'm mad that I put them on a wrong layer. So let me see if I can quickly copy and paste these onto a different layer. Okay. All right, and I definitely want to give him a dark scarf. I think that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna give him a very, very dark scarf. And just that way we don't have colors overlapping, I'll give him some brown leather gloves. That way you can still see his hand coming up. Put this on the leather layer. And I got a couple areas that I still need to go back in and fill in, but I think they're going to be fine just as they are. So let's give him a dark gray scabbard. I can do this on the same layer as the scarf. And then let's wrap the sword with a nice brown leather. Okay. And then for the hair, we're going to give him a lighter color brown hair. Let's go with that. Let me save that color. And let's see, what all do I have on that layer? Okay. I think I can get away with hiding the hair on the scarf layer. Okay, and then we need to make a new layer, and I need to add in the whites for the eyes, and then I need to add in the grays for the armor. So let me do the armor first. Am I on the right layer? Yes, I am. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and add some gray for the sword. Same thing with the opening of the scabbard. I noticed that my perspective is a little bit off, but it's not going to show in the final image. I need to add a little bit more color fill to the breeches down here. Okay, so let me make this a little bit brighter. Take it a little bit dark. Okay. And let me jump back up to the night real quick. Not my line art, my color. And I'll do the same thing. I will brighten that up just a tad. We don't want it stark white, but we don't want a super dark gray. Okay, now let's grab a solid white color, and then we'll come in and we'll add the white for the eyes. I think my eyes are a little bit offset. I think they are. We can fix that real quick. Just dipping this down a bit and erasing. And then erase a little bit more there. I think now they're offset in the opposite direction. We're gonna stick with that. Not gonna get bogged down in stuff that's not gonna show up in the final image, because there's a good chance we're gonna end up blurring out the background, and this character will be barely visible. And as for eyes, we'll just give him some dark gray eyes. We'll keep things real simple on that. Although I need to get rid of the white overlapping. Let's see. And let's see, what's this layer? That one's empty. Okay, I'll do that for the mouth real quick. So let's get a dark red. Color in the back. And do a slightly brighter color for the tongue. Alright. And those are our characters. Characters are colored. Let me think. Let's see. Maybe we can get started on the background. I am very much dreading starting on the background, but let me make this characters. Okay. Put the skin tones at the top of the list. Nope. Okay, I'll put it at the bottom. Did I just take it out of the... I think I did. Put you there. Put you on top. Okay, so let's do this. Let's get our... Let's see how this will look. I'm not sure how I will like doing this one. Let me just go ahead and start painting the background. Let's just, you know, bite the bullet and get after it. I think, yeah. Maybe not that color. Give me a little bit more of a gray. So I'm going to go through and kind of block it out at first, and then I will come back in. Like I'll bring my line art layer above, and then I will try to add in some of the detail that gets taken out. You know, let me do that. Let me just keep my perspectives right. Go ahead and connect all of this. We're just going to fill that in. Come up down here, fill that in, fill this in, and then we got another patch of gray down here. Don't fill that yet. It's going to fill up the whole image. Okay. And then we also got some green, so we'll throw the green behind the gray. Going to do a dark color because it's going to get washed out with the the sunset. Let's go ahead and bring that down there. Let's put a rich navy flag up here. I say navy, royal blue flag. That's what I was trying to say. Don't undo. I just undid it. Okay, so let me take my line art, go above, and I will need to carve out some sections, so let me jump to my erase tool. And I do want to have that one brick protruding a little bit, just that way I do have some variation in the silhouette. Okay, so let me go to my, oh, I should have made that blue on another layer. That's what I should have done. Let's make a flag right here real quick. Give it a little bit of a fold because there's a little bit of wind. Make sure my color's in. go. Don't need to make it super, super. Okay, all right, so we're gonna stick with that for now, and then now we're gonna add a clipping mask on top of our castle layer. I'm going to do a general airbrush coloring, kind of get a little bit of my shadows in place, so that way I don't need it to be that thick. You know what, let me just drop down the opacity. I'd rather do it thicker and then have to erase later on. So all I'm doing right now is just defining the shadows, the deeper parts of the image that are going to be really caught by the light or block the light. Don't jump around. We'll do a little bit of an inset brick here, there, and there. Okay. And see, even if I just left my sketch like that and went in and add all the other colors, your mind would tell you that all the details are there. We're not going to keep it there though. We're not going to stick it like that. So I also want to come in and I want to add in the light a little bit. And I'm just going to do everything in more or less black and white colors, and then I will adjust things as needed. Like I said, I'm just getting the general lighting down. I don't want to have all the answers there, I just want to have a basic guideline. I may end up coming back with a watercolor brush and to add some texture into this. Okay. Oh, that's why I'm on my erase tool. That's why nothing was happening. Okay. Okay, so just that alone, you can really kind of see it starting to come together. So, let me see, let me think. And make a new layer. I'm going to grab one of my Fancy Pants watercolor brushes. Gonna make this a multiply layer. And I want to add a little bit more texture and grit to things. This will also let me build the color up on top of it, so I don't have to have the darkest color selected. also come back and build up lines if I so desired to. Get a little bit thicker line. There we go. For now. Actually, I think I originally had that planned to be a different setup. Let's see. Yeah, I think that's what it was. So this line comes all the way down. But this line intersects it. Same with this one. And then we'll bring this one down. And same with this up here. Bring that up. Bring that across. And then now we'll shade this in. Also add a line over here coming down. I know it's kind of crossing over with my highlight, but it will get corrected. Let's see, and then we have it coming up here, and that's going to be a really dark area back here. I feel like that green is bleeding over in an area where it shouldn't. Nope, okay. So let's see, let me do a little bit of terraforming to this. And bring the gray down. Let me select a brush that will be able to fill all that in. Not that. There we go. Okay. Jump back up here, go back to my fancy watercolor. let's see, let's add some detail here. This is a section that I really didn't plan out, so I kind of have to figure out the perspective on the spot, which isn't a bad thing. And there we go. That's enough to trick your eye into seeing details that aren't actually there. Okay. All right, so let's go back in and let's add some more texture. I just want to add a little bit of a roughed up look to it. And any areas that I need to come back and add to, I can. Just want to get the general look and feel of things down. Go ahead and make that a full shadow there. Alright, so let's do the same thing with a highlight layer. And this is where I'll start really kind of adding in the finer details of like, hey, this is brick and stone and masonry work and all the fun stuff. And I'll come back and I'll add a little bit more like darker colors. Because it's not just going to be highlights on the masonry, there's going to be a little bit of shadows too. But this will hopefully just add that texture that will kind of resonate and be like, hey, I know exactly what this is. Okay, let's do that for now. I will, however, come back to my line art layer. And I'll come in and I will cut in little tiny details. I don't want to do a whole bunch, I just want to do enough to where it kind of tricks your eyes into seeing details that aren't there. Same thing with up here. Just a little bit. Don't need a whole bunch, we just need a little bit. Go back up to our highlight layer and we'll continue on. Nope, too small. This is all going to get blurred out in the background, so I really don't want to get so zoned in on trying to put in every kind of detail that I can. I really don't want to get stuck on that. I just want to make sure that there's some texture there, so that way it doesn't look like it's just a flat image. And I completely forgot about this down here. It's going to be getting the most of the light coming in. Same thing with this here. Okay, and we'll come down to our multiply layer again and really bring out those shadows. Maybe add in a little bit more definition so we actually know what's going on down here. Back to my highlights. Add a little bit more. A little bit more of that roughed up texture. Add a little bit of a rim light there. There. And there. Okay. Alright, so let's take a pause on the castle for now. Let's go ahead and group that one section, and then let's work on the grass a bit. I'm not going to set a clipping mask for this one because I do want to actually bring some like grass textures up and covering up parts of the actual castle. Because if I leave it as a clipping layer, it's not going to go any higher than the already predefined area that we have. So, same thing, I'm going to stay on my watercolor brush, and I'm going to just real quick kick some texture up. Let's see. I just lied. I need to put this on the layer above. Am I still on the wrong layer? I'm on the wrong layer still. Yeah, all I want to do is just add a separation here. That's all I'm trying to do. Just that way it's not that line. Try to make it look like it's all blending together nice and neatly. So I think that's enough grass texture there. And I think what I can do, will it work if I do that? Probably not. I'm not going to do that just yet. I'm going to go ahead and stay on this layer. And now I will start doing my multiply layer. Yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and leave it unclipped, and we're just going to throw some texture in. Come on. And I'm gonna drop the opacity down on that a little bit because it's a little too dark for my taste right now. And then same thing with the highlights. We're just gonna put in some very, very basic indications of light. And then we'll add just a little bit of detail in there so that way your eyes will know exactly what it's looking at. Same thing over here. Let me come back to this layer and we will add in just a bit of texture so it's not a straight line. Okay, it's good enough for me. Okay, so now I will go back up and I will make another layer, and I will just add in a few blades of grass here and there. We'll have a little bit of overlapping from the shadows and the highlights so that way you know what's going on. And then we'll do the inverse. We'll add a little bit of highlighted blades going over shadows. Again, we don't want all the detail back here because it's not the focus of it all. We'll add one more layer. Do this one as an add layer. And then now we'll go over into the shadows, and we'll also put some just kind of randomly out and about because light's not going to work in one uniform way. It's going to act in its own way. And over here, we really don't need to worry about detail. We'll just add a little bit of highlights over there, just to really kind of separate it. Okay, so that is good for me. I'm gonna group that. I'm gonna keep that as is, and I just want to put a layer above this. We'll do this a little bit of an overlay. Let's see, how is this gonna bring the color out for me? That's gonna make it a little too rich for me. Not what I'm going for. Okay. Add a bit of screen. How's the screen gonna do? Screen should do a little bit more of a washing out. Okay. A very, very small amount. Let me just do this. Let me deal with that when I get to the actual lighting of everything. Okay, so I got that, I got that, I got that. Let me finish up the flag up on the castle. I'll go ahead and keep that on the same layer. Let's do a wood hanger. And then let's do some light colored tassels. We'll do a trim at the base. We'll just add some tassels flowing down from it. And again, these don't need to be perfect. They're probably not even going to be visible in the final image. And just for fun, let's add in a little bit of a design on top of the flag. So add a little bit of trim there, jump across, and let's just kind of imply that there's like a lion paw coming off. That looks terrible, but we're not gonna worry about it. We're just gonna move on. I'll clean it up a little bit. How about that? I'll clean it up some. Hello, that looks like a funky lizard. Doesn't look like the tiger pose. Let's see. What if I do it in reverse? Let me. How about I just do a lion head? What if I just did a basic lion head outline? Kind of looks like a bear. We may call it a bear, and we'll leave it as a bear. There we go. We'll just say it's like the kingdom of the bears. And we'll leave it like that. I originally wasn't planning on putting a insignia on there. Okay, so I need to add a little bit of detail up here. Is that too fat of a line? That might be too fat of a line. Let's go back to this color and we'll just add just a little bit of detail. Just that way it's not a pure blue image. Nope. Alright, we're gonna roll with that. Plain simple, not gonna worry about it. I do, however, need, I'm not gonna worry about it. I was gonna say I need to add some shading to the flag, but it's gonna be so small it's not even gonna be visible. Okay, so now we are at a point, I think, where we can throw in our sky. So let me do this. That is the castle, that is the grass. This will be the castle folder. Okay, so now for our sky, I want to do a nice sunset color. Let me grab my airbrush and we'll get real large and we'll have the sun coming out from behind the characters. Or sun going down. Sunrise, sunset. We're not gonna worry about that detail. We're just gonna move on. Okay, so that's gonna be our base color, and I will do a little bit of a blur. Kind of blend things up a little bit neater. Okay, so now, let's see. Let's add in some texture for our clouds. How's that gonna look? Absolutely not. Maybe I just need to go back to my watercolor brush. Watercolor, okay. And I'm going to block in kind of some gray clouds and then add the colors on top. So I'm not gonna get super crazy with details here. We just want to show that there are cloud formations up here. this up a bit. Alright, so now that we kind of got our rough design of our clouds, now we can add in some lights. So I want to add in some nice white highlights, not white, orange highlights to these clouds, because they are going to be the closest. And because the sun is because the sun is setting or rising, the light's going to be hitting the bottom half of the clouds. So that's one thing we need to keep in mind as we are adding in these highlights. And I may need to come and add in a little bit more orange on the under half of these, but we're not going to focus on that right now. We're just getting our shapes in. Add a little bit there, and we'll expand this one a little bit, give us a little bit more look to things. And we'll also come in and add a few just real small ones, because it's never just big clouds, there's always small clouds too. Okay, add some more down here. And as they're getting further away, those clouds are going to get smaller and smaller. We're not going to worry about getting too low on the image. We're going to stick more up here. So add a little bit more wispy clouds over here on the sides. Alright, so we'll stick with that for now. Now let's add in another highlight layer. Let's really kind of start pushing some of these colors through. Give us some nice light rays shining. I'm going to make another layer because I do like that one. I don't want to mess that one up too much. And then I'll add these together later, and we'll do a little bit more fine. And then I will need to also go above my line art. I know I'm kind of jumping the gun, getting a few things done out of order. I should be shading my colors, my characters, but we're going to deal with the lighting real quick. The more we can define the lighting, the easier it's going to be for us to get our characters colored. So we're going to have lights shining over and shining through. Overlapping. Okay, so now we kind of got a rough outline of our skyline, our background, our characters. Now we can start going in and actually shading our characters. And then once we're all said and done and we're happy with how things look, then we'll go back and we'll try to blend everything nice and neatly. So let me jump on to this layer real quick. And I'm kind of liking the texture of this watercolor brush. I may stick with this. Let me see how this looks on here. I may stick with this. I may stick with the actual watercolor. So let's see. Let me play around with this. I want to try a different shading technique, but I don't know if it's going to work out well on this one. So we're going to stick with the basics. And I'm actually going to go through and I'm going to do a little bit more of cell shading first, and then I will be adding in more texture and more soft shadows. But I don't want it to be that thick. But I can also adjust it as I go. So because this is going to be a section that is really caught in the shadows, our shadows are going to be a lot more deep and dark. But I don't want to take away all the detail. Okay. So we had already gone through and we added our darker line art pockets, more or less, and that's going to add in. And I want those to be the darkest parts. So you see, I just dropped the opacity, and now those areas are still the darker parts of the shadows. It's not taken away from everything else. This, we can just go ahead and fill this in. That's not going to be really relevant. But now I can come in and I can add all these shadows here, and it's not going to interfere with the previous work that we did, and those will still be the darkest parts of our image. I don't want to get too far up on that right shoulder, because that's going to actually catch a lot of light coming in. Okay. So let's see. Did I forgot to do that. I forgot to add a brim color. Not a brim. What was that? I can't remember that. I also want to do a little bit of a texture design inside the hat. I'm trying to remember how I want to do it. I need a white layer, and I want to add a circle to it. There we go, that'll work. And come around like that. Fill this in. Fill this in. Then we're going to add these little tiny bumps. Actually, let me do this. Will it look better if I do it like that? Go. And then I also want to come in. I want to kind of define the contour things of things real quick. Just that little bit right there makes me happy. So do I want to do 3, or do I want to do 1 big? What if I did that? What if I did 1 big? I think I'll do that. I will do 1 big and 2 smalls. Put that there. Make this one a little bit bigger. also want to add a brown trim to that. Let me go beneath it. I'm gonna do this on a layer beneath it because I don't want to take away from the outline that I already have. Do a little bit thicker one. How about that? Yeah, it's too thick. See, just that little detail right there immediately made the hat more interesting, at least in my opinion. And I think I also want to add a white brim line. But I think I'm going to go a little bit above the actual line. And I'm good with that. I am perfectly okay with that. All right, so now back to our proper shading. So I think I'm good with that. Let me do a little bit of a cell shade down here. That's all we need to do for that. So now let's do all of our shadows first, and then we'll come back and we'll do our highlights. And then what I have this set to, that is 57. We'll go ahead and drop this one down to, let's say, 65%. Okay, and as we're getting lower down on the robe, so like this section here, we're not going to shade that in. That's actually going to be some light coming around because our shawl stops up here. So we need to make sure to leave that and give that space so that way shadows can get, or light can get to it. But this up here, she's facing away from the sunlight. We can probably put a little bit, now we'll put a little bit down here, yeah. This will get some shadow, that will get some shadow. Let's go ahead and just fill that and fill that. Fill all this in. That little overlap I just did. Okay, I'm good with that. Let's come in and add a little bit of shadow here. We'll add a little bit more here, but not too much. Okay, so I think that's gonna be fine for that layer. Let's go ahead and I'll add a little bit of drop shadow down here. Not a whole bunch, just enough. Same here. We'll drop it there. We'll leave it right there. All right, next layer. What is that? That is the brim line in the hat. Is that layer empty? That layer is empty. Okay, so we're gonna jump up, go above. we're going to pull some color for these. And same thing as before, we're going to drop this down about 60%. Let's say 60% for this one. And this is where we'll start adding in the texture for all these tassels and fabric and all that. See, how does that look? Is that too much? That looks more like a wood texture. Let me restart on that. We're just going to keep it simple right now. I'll do a little bit of cell shading, and then we'll come back and add some more details later. Add a little bit of up curve to these, maybe. How does that look? That's fine like that. And then I don't want to get super crazy on the details down here. Alright, we're gonna leave it as just like that. Not gonna worry about it. And we're gonna move on. Add that in. Shade all of this in so that way it all blends together. And we'll add just a little bit here. So that way our lines down there match up. Add a little bit of a blend to that. And fade that together. Give us a little shadow there, a little shadow here. Get a little bit of a wrap around, not that much. Okay. That's all going to be shaded in. We'll do that. Give us a little bit of color still in there. That's fine for that now. Let's come in and we'll add some shadow for the hat. And I think this one I'm just going, let me think. Let me take this color. Just add a little bit there. We'll add some down here. And then we will grab our airbrush and we'll just kind of flick the color in. Just a little bit. And that should be fine just like that. I will, however, make it a little bit darker. Just like that. I want to grab a blend tool and find my airbrush. Just kind of want to blend this a little bit more. There we go. Alright, so I think that'll be good for the clothing for now. Let's jump to, oh, hang on. Yeah, let's go ahead and add some highlights to this while we are here. So for the highlights, I'm going to do a add layer, and I'm going to do a airbrush tool, and then I will go back and I'll add the really hard shadows with a fine line tool. Although this, I would think I want it to be a little bit more of a warmer orange color. Just because that is the colors that we're going to be working with. And I may, you know what? I take all that back. I'm just going to do the shadows, and then I will go back with the lighting layer, and then I'll add in all the highlights that are necessary. So that way, at that point, all my colors will be blending in just fine. So, with that being said, let's jump onto our skin tone layer. We can go ahead and knock out every bit of shadows for these characters. And for these, I'm going to add in an airbrush first. Really define that shape. We don't have a whole bunch of skin tones, so we don't have to worry too much. Get these started. Okay. Quit jumping around. Alright, so now let me jump to a new layer. And I'll still have this at multiply. And I will go and find my sharp tool. And we're not going to worry about the normal method of going about and shading things because our character's facing away. There's going to be a lot of things that are up in the air about how is this going to be done. We're just going to do a little bit of normalcy. Maybe a little bit more than that. Really just want to try to catch those really dark areas that we didn't do before with the line art layer. Okay, we're going to stick like that. Come down here. There you go, and that's all we're going to deal with on that character. And now let's do a little bit of highlights. Just a little bit, not a whole bunch. Kind of want to get some on this character because he is facing away. And I'm going to set this to normal, to a normal layer for that. Just really catch those hard those hard lights that we know are facing this character. Drop these down a bit because they don't need to be that sharp. We'll just add a little bit to our other characters. I may need to make a new layer. This one I definitely need to make a add layer. Maybe not. Okay. Come back and just do a white color. How about that? Put a little bit up here and we'll call it done on that. Okay, I'm fine with that for now. Just add just a hair more on the forehead, because that forehead's really going to be catching some light. Alright, so let's see what time are we at right now. We're sitting at 2 hours and 20 minutes. We may wrap up here in a little bit for the day, because I do have some stuff that I need to take care of today. Let's see, we'll rename this to Skin Tones. That is our mage robe. The staff, let's go ahead and color the staff real quick. And this should be a dark enough color. Yep, I can get an actual color from it. I just want to add a little bit of definition to this. And then I will grab my airbrush tool. Okay, so now let me grab my airbrush, and I'm going to make a new layer. So that way we're pulling the color from both of them. We're just going to hit it real quick with that. A little bit darker, a little bit more saturated. Gotta leave it just like that. Come on top of our gem layer, and let's just do this one on one layer rather than dealing with everything else. I want to add some shadow in the cracks between. And then I want to add some highlights on top. One pure white layer, and I'll make it a new layer, and let's go ahead and just do a add layer, so that way we can kind of build up to it. I want to add that hard edge to it. We may add a faint glow to this when we actually go to do the color, the shadowing, highlights. Sorry, I can't speak this morning. And really bring the attention in to it. I need a richer color. How about that? I don't want to go too dark. I don't want it to be too light. I don't want it all to blend together. You can also add in the darkest color blue that I would want on the line arts, so that way I don't have to worry about getting super deep into each one of the cracks and crevices. So we're gonna leave it just like that for now. Let's add some shadows and a little bit of highlights to this bronzy gold trim. Keep things real simple. And we'll add an add layer. Did I set it? Yes, I did. little bit of rim light there. How about that? Give me a little bit in here, just enough to show something down there. Okay. And we can also come back and we can add a little bit of highlights to these little bands, buckles, whatever you want to call them on these tassels. I don't want it to be super harsh, so I'm going to drop the opacity of it. Just add a little bit to it. Just enough to show something there. That's all we're going to do. That's all we're going to do for that. Okay, so now let's jump up to the hair, and we'll color the hair in. And then we'll save the eyes for last. I'm going to delete that one because I do prefer the white hair, the more lavender-y white. Alright, so same thing as before. We're going to do the cell shading first. Give me a little bit bigger brush. There we go. Color in that. Give us a little bit of texture in here. And I don't want a crazy amount of detail in the hair. I want some, but I don't want a whole bunch. Erase that. And I don't think I need that to go that high off. And let's just do one nice shadow there. Drop the size of that brush. Erase this. Up a bit. Go ahead and fill that in. Fill in this here, and we'll add in just a few little spikes. Come back in and add this one back. Okay, I think I need to drop the shadows, not the shadows, the base skin tone for this character down, because it is appearing a little. I just realized I forgot to color the hand. Let me see. What am I trying to achieve? I don't want it to be that. I think I kind of want it to be a little bit more of a pink color. There we go. There we go. That's what I wanted. So let me jump down here and let me quickly color in this hand. Add a little bit shading, some cell shading. Did I just do the wrong layer? I did it in the wrong order. So I need to come up to this one. Add a little bit under each knuckle, and then we come back down here, find our airbrush, and just give us a nice big swoosh across it. Darken this area. Okay, and I'll go ahead and add a little bit more on this layer. Is that gonna work? Oh well, we're good with that. We'll stick with that. What if I come back up here, and can I add on top of these? I need to change these colors a bit too. Should be a little bit more pink. There we go. Just like that, I'm happy. Alright, let me add some highlights to the hair, and then I will do the eyes, and then I will see if I can do some like more broad shadows across these. So let me do a little bit. That's not going to work. Maybe I need to not do it on a add layer. If I just did it on a normal layer. Overlays. Overlay gonna be too bright. Maybe I don't need to add a highlight layer, and I just need to do a little bit thicker shadow. Give me that. I don't want it in every place. Now, if I come back, I could just come in and do like some light bands, but I'm not going to do that right now. And kind of fake some highlights in certain places. Okay, I'm okay with that. So now let me go back over my clothing and do some more soft shadows. Because I've gone through it, I did all my cell shading. And we'll just go ahead and select this one. Really, I kind of want to do this more across the board rather than on each individual one. So let me come up here. Let's do that. Let's drop the opacity and let's just see. I'll drop the opacity down a little bit more, I don't want it to be that harsh. Don't want to draw away from the hat. I really don't want to add a whole bunch to that. I want it to stay light like that because I really, really like the colors of it. Okay. If I set you to this light, no, give me overlay. I think overlay blends better. We're gonna stick with overlay. Okay. So the staff is good enough for now. The eyes, let's jump to the eyes real quick. You know what? I think I'm going to do kind of the same premise on this one. We'll go and we'll do a overlay, shadow, I may need to do it as a multiply so that way it actually shows up. So one problem of doing this not on a clipping layer is I'm having to fight with it bleeding over, but that's okay. We can work with it. I'll come underneath this. I think I want the irises to be a lot bigger. Okay, good with that. Add one more multiply for the actual deepest part of the iris. Highlight. Add some up in here. I'm not feeling that right now, so let's backtrack on that. I do want kind of a glow, so I am going to put that. I'm still not clipped, so I'll erase that. I'll come back in, and I'll add some highlights to that. Okay, and I'm fine with that for now. I'll add a little bit of shading to the eyelashes, and this one I will clip to that layer. And I don't need much, I just want some variation in there. Drop the opacity down. That's all I want. Just enough to have variation. That's all I want. Okay. Let's see. Let me do something a little out of the ordinary for me. How would it look if I started adding in lighting it now before I finish the other ones? It's going to be pushing forward. That will be pushing forward. You know, no, I'm going to save that. I'm going to save that for later. I don't want to do that right now as much as I want to. I want to jump the gun so bad and get to that point, but we're not. We are not. Alright, so let's see what time we're at. We are at 2 hours and almost 40 minutes. So I think that's a good wrapping up point here for today. But this is the current state of the illustration. It's a lot better than how I was expecting it to start to turn out. But let's go ahead and drop this right here. But thank you so much, everybody, for watching. We're gonna go ahead and wrap that up here. I've got to go and meet up with some friends today and goof around in town. But thank you so much for everybody who dropped in. Thank you so much, everybody, for hanging out with me. If you just lurked in the chat and didn't really say anything but just enjoyed the nice coffee table jazz and some artwork and listening to me ramble about art. But I hope you have a fantastic day. I hope you have a great rest of your weekend, and I really hope that you get to do some amazing art. I hope that you come around and you share it with me. If you made something while you're here, please tag me in it and let me see some of your cool work. But I hope you have a great day, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week, and I'll see you guys next time. Let's go ahead and close it out. Where's it out? There it is. All right, later, y'all.